Alright, welcome back to my NFL rankings videos. I've done wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and now I have moved to the defensive side of the bar. That doesn't mean I'm done with the offense, of course. I still gotta do quarterbacks, and I probably won't do the offensive line, but I might. So I've still got special teams and stuff to do, but I figured I should go ahead and do the linemen. And these are not the linebackers, okay? This is not the defensive line. This isn't the front seven. If y'all want me to do a front seven ranking, I will. This is like if you have a 4-3 defense, this is the 4. If you have a 3-4 defense, this is the 3. These are the men on the line. I will do a separate video for the linebackers and for the cornerback safeties. That video. Just be looking out. I have a lot more planned. So just be seeing where your team lands. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, this is gonna get bad later in the year when I'm doing like power rankings week by week, which I am gonna be doing. So subscribe if you want to see that. Whenever like if you were a Cardinals fan and you saw this, you would already know like, oh, my team's down here. I don't even want to watch this video. This guy thinks my team is so bad. And then if you're a Vikings fan, you would look. Never mind. Let's go. Let's see who number 32 is, and I think it'll be a surprise to a lot of you because it's the Texans, and I know they have J.J. Watt. Okay. Oh, no one saw that. All right. So Texans, but look. So J.J. Watt, I guess he was injured or something last year because he only had 15 tackles, and 4 sacks. So he did have a forced fumble, but that a lot of these players have forced fumbles. Their whole he had 15 tackles, and that's the best. They have a 3-4 defense. That's the best amount of tackles, and that's the best amount of sacks. Although Charles Omenihu has 2 forced fumbles, so they definitely aren't. They could be worse potentially, but they also really, really, really could be better, as you're going to see. It's just bottom. Very, very bottom. Once again, I have them color-coded. Dark red at the bottom, all the way up to light green at the very, very top. Alright, and now we have the Bears. Alright, so our first NFC team on here, let me get to them on my notes. Alright, and the Bears, they got Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, Bilal Nichols. They've only got 2 sacks on the whole team. Though they do have 45 tackles. So they seem to be tackling consistently. This is a 3-4 defense again, by the way, which I think a 4-3 defense is better, but that's just my opinion, and I'm not taking my personal opinion into this. I think 4-3. I'm looking at the stats and how well they do, and it's not good at all. It's 10 tackles, 20 tackles, and 15 tackles. They have 2 sacks. So these two are basically on the same level. You could argue that the Texans are on top because they have more forced fumbles, but I think you can get as many forced fumbles as you want. You have to be consistently tackling, and the Bears do that, but they don't consistently do it. They don't have big tackling numbers, but they have bigger tackling numbers than the Texans. So, yeah. Moving on to number 30, top 30, which is not very good. We have the Cardinals as shown over here. And the Cardinals, Zach Allen, Jordan Phillips, Corey Peters. This is actually a picture of Zach Allen right here that I used. And they also have lots of tackles. They don't have that many tackles. Zach Allen only had 6 tackles last year. Jordan Phillips with 25 tackles. Corey Peters with 19 tackles. Though they do have 13 sacks and 1 forced fumble on their team. So they're consistent. They're tackling. They're not tackling consistently again. They don't have as bad numbers as these two, and they have a lot of sacks. Well, not a lot of sacks. They only have 13 sacks, but still, that's better than these two. So, yeah. All right. I don't know why this keeps on getting smaller. I needed to change that. All right, now lowering it down to 29. We have the Buccaneers. All right. All right, let's find them. All right, they have Nadama Kansu, Vita Vea, and William Golston. Um, they also have 22 tackles, 19 tackles, 26 tackles, respectively. 3.5 sacks, and not 3.5 sacks. Sorry, 6 sacks. So that shows me that they're tackling better than the Cardinals. They have a little less sacks, but to be honest, if you don't have any sacks and you have a huge amount of tackles, that's good because you can't be letting them get away. I mean, if they were like running the ball constantly and they're getting tackled before they, like, even if like passing plays, if you're tackling them whenever they catch the ball, that's a lot of lost yards. A lot of the game these days is based upon yards after catch. Anyways, going on to number 28, we have the Titans moving up into the light red. So this is like the cellar, the dark cellar, the worst teams in the league right here. And then these is like insanely bad. This is like really bad right here. You do not want to be down here, as the Titans have found themselves with not very many tackles, surprisingly, but they do have a fair amount of sacks. 2 sacks. Actually, I'm just counting them up. 3 sacks. They have 4.5 sacks and a good amount of tackles, and that just puts them on it. That puts them above everyone else. And plus, they have a 3-4 defense. A lot of these teams have a 3-4 defense. And I don't put them down here just because they are a 3-4 defense. I put them down here because their stats are bad, like I keep on saying. All right, and then surprisingly, we have the Patriots, and one of the reasons I put them down here is because the Patriots are going to be relying a lot on their defense, and so that puts a lot of pressure on them, right? And so, I mean, they've got 59 tackles, and 5.5 sacks, and a forced fumble, and an interception from Lawrence Guy. So that's definitely above all these guys. I mean, they've got an interception on one of their linemen, which is amazing. But they're going to be putting a lot of pressure on their defense. And I know this is just 3 men on the defense, and there's a lot more that are going to be on there. But, I mean, what if this is going to be a big part of it? If you can't get sacks, if you can't turn the ball over, what's happening? But, I mean, they are in 27th, so 26, we have the Giants, first team in the NFC East to appear, with Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Leonard Williams. They are the first team to have they're another 3-4 team. 3 guys with more than 20 tackles. They have 3 guys that at least have 1 forced fumble, and they have in total 6.5 sacks. So they have 3 forced fumble, I think 68 tackles, and I'm trying to count all these up, and 6.5 sacks, and that's good enough, I think, to get them to 26. It's like this is where you start taking the big step, because while these are in different colors, this is kind of one big category right here, and then I feel like there's a big step in between 27th and 26. All right, going on to 25th. We have the Seahawks, as you probably saw on the bottom there whenever it was sticking out. All right. Or when I tried to fix it. All right, I got to find them in my notes. All right, the Seahawks, this is the first 4-3 team we are seeing all the way at the top. So they're still really bad, but they aren't terrible. They are terrible. This whole thing is terrible. This you don't want to be in this picture. All right. Seahawks, Bruce Irvin, Apuna Ford, John Reed, Benson, Mayola. They have a 4-3 defense, so that allows for a lot more tackles. Can I get that out of here? Please get that away. All right. Sorry, I'm not used to using a computer. See, Bruce Irvin, Puna, yeah. And so they have a lot. If you have a 4-3 defense, you're going to have a lot more tackles. And they have lots and lots of sacks. They have 18 sacks on this team, which is far above everyone else. But the thing that's holding them down 25th is the fact that Jarran Reed and Benson Mayowa both only have 10 tackles. Although Benson Mayowa, and this is another thing that's keeping them from falling down here, Benson Mayowa has 3 forced fumbles, Jaron Reed has 1 forced fumble, and Bruce Irvin has 1 forced fumble. That's 5 forced fumbles. So really, you could make an argument that they could be, possibly like all the way up to like 17th or something. I don't know, but I mean, just for me, it's 25th right now. So you're out of the cellar, and now this is just below average right here. So you went from, worst of the worst, really bad, below average, average. All right, so let's see who our first below average player is. It's the Saints. A lot of good teams are being thrown down here. This is another 4-3 team. The thing that's holding them down again is the amount of tackles they have. Like Sheldon Rankins, they have Cameron Jordan, Sheldon Rankins, Malcolm Brown, and Marcus Davenport. The only player who has above 18 tackles is Cameron Jordan, with 37 though. So I mean, Cameron Jordan is really holding this whole Saints team up. Because Cameron Jordan also has 15.5 sacks, so that gives them a total of 23.5 sacks, which is what's holding them up here, with only having 44, 49, 59, 69, 77 tackles, which is pretty good, and they only have 3 forced fumbles. So this is just below average. This isn't terrible, horribly bad, and it's also not very good or average. All right, now moving on to number 23, we have the Panthers down here. Despite the fact that they loaded up during the draft, they got Derek Brown, either from the draft or from free agency, I don't know. Coming back, Stephen Wearley, Derek Brown, K1 Short, and Brian Burns. A lot of the fact that they're up here has to do with is that Derek Brown is on their team. His stats look pretty good. There's only, I think, 3 total rookie defensive linemen that are starting that I saw on the depth. I was looking through depth charts and stats and everything. Excuse me. And there's only 3 rookies. This is the first team that has a rookie on him, and it's all the way down 23rd. That's because rookies can either be really good or really bad. I've said this in a lot of my videos. If Derek Brown is good, he could carry this team. If he's bad, then they could be all the way down, possibly in the dark red. Because they don't. I mean, Derek Brown had 32 tackles last year, but other than that, the other 3 guys who are returning from the last season, none of them have above 20 tackles, though they do have 10.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. So really, they definitely should have been in the bottom, but this is where I see them above the Saints and quarterback linemen. This is not total defense, okay? The Panthers could have the best cornerbacks. I might do a video just ranking. Oh, it's the Raiders, by the way. I might do a video just ranking every team's offense, like their whole offense, and then I might do a video ranking their whole defense and special teams, and then I might like average those out and go ahead and do a like new and improved power rankings. I don't know, but let's not do that. Shall we? Let's go to the Raiders. All right. And the Raiders, if I can find them, here they are. They have Cleveland Farrell, Malik Collins, Jonathan Hankins, and Max Crosby. They don't have a rookie on their team. They have a lot. I'm counting them up. Give me a second. They have 20 sacks, which is bravo to them. 20 sacks. We're climbing up that board. They have a pretty good amount of tackles. I'm not going to add them all up because that would take me forever. But they've got 24 tackles. Cleveland Farrell has 24 tackles. Malik Collins with 15. Jonathan Hankins, 28 tackles. Max Crosby, 36 tackles. And, yeah, I mean, that's good enough. And they've also got 4 forced fumbles, all of them coming from Max Crosby. Max Crosby, by far, their best defensive lineman. All right? And now, just barely falling outside of the top 20, we have the Jaguars. You can see him over here. I think this might be the highest that they've been on any of my rankings. They are almost average, and they mainly because of Josh Allen. They got him last year in the draft. They also have Al Woods, Taven Bryan, Yannick Ngakoi, Ngakoue. How the heck did I say that? All right, so Josh Allen, 31 tackles, 10.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles last year. By far the star of their defense. A great pickup in the draft. He is working wonders for them. He's just going to have to be carrying them because, I mean, Yannick Ngako is he's carrying his weight around. But, I mean, Al Woods, Taven Bryant, this is the 4-3 defense. They're like below average, which is why their whole team is below average. I mean, really, like, the teams at the top, really, they're the ones that have 4 or 3 great guys. The Jaguars, they have 2. They have, like, 1 above average guy, and they have 1 average guy, and they have 2 below pretty bad guys. And, I mean, that just puts them around 21. All right, entering the top 20 and average category, we have the Jets. All right, they're also being launched up here. All right, let's find them, shall we? All right, Henry Anderson, Steve McClendon, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams was, I think, the 2nd pick in the draft last year, and he didn't do too well. They're mainly up here because, they've got a nice amount of sacks, pretty good amount of tackles. I mean, they're just a good all-around defense. All right. I was going to say something. I don't know, I forgot. Falcons. I think I might have been too harsh on them when I was doing my predictions. I don't know why. I already had looked up everything. I had prepared myself, done my homework. But, like, when I'm ranking them, for some reason, they're always, like, up here instead of, down here. Which makes no sense to me. And anyways, I'm not going to take it all back. I stand with my predictions to the end of the day. All right, the Falcons, we got Takaris McKinley, Grady Jarrett, Tyler Davis, and Alan Bailey. All right, this is a 4-3 defense all the way up at 19. They have a nice amount of tackles. Grady Jarrett leading their team by far with 38 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles last year. Bravo to him carrying the Falcons right now. A lot of the teams in this area, they have one player that's really, picking things up. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, this right here is a picture of Josh Allen, I do think. Yes, it might not be. I don't know. I forgot. I just look up one of the names of one of the teams. All right. So, the Falcons, 19. I really like that I can't see how long my videos are now, because in my old videos, I could just, click up here. Steelers, 18th. I think this is the exact same spot I had them at for tight ends. This is average. Their defense is pretty average. This is a 3-4 defense. They got Stephon Tuitt, Dan McCullers, and Cameron Hayward. And I know what you're saying. Dan McCullers only had 3 tackles last year, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. Stephon Tuitt had 18 tackles, 3.5 sacks, man. What are you doing? Cameron Hayward had 51 tackles, 9 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. That's the best stat line that I have seen so far out of all of these. And that he is solely holding them up. Stephon Tuitt had 3.5 sacks, which is still pretty good. If Stephon Tuitt had 1.5 sacks, just the Falcons 18. But for real, they're not good enough to be probably even 17th. They're not good enough to be on the better half of the league. So 18th is a spot for them. All right, actually, I probably should just start cutting them. You have the Chiefs. All right, the Chiefs all the way up at the 17th, just falling out of the above average category. All right, they got out. This is a 4-3 team. They got Alex Okafor, Chris Jones, Derek Nnadi, Frank Clark, and they've got a pretty good amount of sacks. They have 23 sacks. They have 6 forced fumbles. I'm not going to add up all their tackles, but Okafor's got 15. Chris Jones has 23. Nnadi has 18. And Frank Clark has 27. And they have 2 interceptions from their linemen. Derek Nnadi and Frank Clark both have an interception from last year. So, I mean, that is great. I mean, we don't see very many interceptions from linemen. So the fact that they got interceptions, which is probably just like the ball gets batted in the air. Like the quarterback throws it and they bat it up in the air and one of them catches it and falls on it. But, I mean, things happen. All right, now moving up into the above average category. As you can tell, the Colts are somewhere up here. And we got above average and then we got really good. So, number 16. The bottom of really good. Not really good. The bottom of above average. You're pretty good. The Dolphins all the way up here. Forgot I did that. Let's find them so I can explain myself to the people. Why are the Dolphins all the way up at 16, man? It's because they got Avery Moss, David Godshaw, Christian Wilkins, who is a beast. Christian Wilkins with 30 tackles. David Shadow with 33 tackles. Avery Moss only has 11 tackles, but he makes it up with a forced fumble. They've only got 4 sacks, but I mean, the amount of tackles they have really makes up for it. So, I mean, yeah, this is 16 above average. It's still not really good, but they are a formidable opponent. 15, we've got the Lions all the way up here. We got Romeo Okwara, Danny Shelton, Nick Williams, and Trey Flowers, who whenever I think of the name Trey Flowers, all I can think of are bad like hands against the face or whatever it calls last year. He got 2 of them in a row in that Green Bay game. I was actually at a Great Wolf Lodge and I was watching that. Man, it sucked. Because, I mean, I could tell he didn't do anything. Anyways, I'm not even a Lions fan. Why do I care? They have 14 tackles, 30 tackles, 24 tackles, and 33 tackles, respectively. And if you want to talk sacks, they got them. They have 17.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, no interceptions. But that's a pretty good stat line. That's good enough to get them up to 15th. All right, 14th. Moving up. The Bengals. What? How did the Bengals get up here? There's a little part of a letter sticking out at the bottom there. Let me hide that. Alright, we got the Bengals. Let's find them. Probably could use that time to find where the Bengals are. Here they are. Carlos Dunlap, DJ Reader, Geno Atkins, and Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard with 46 tackles, 8.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Fighting with, I think it was Cameron. Fighting with Cameron Hayward for the best stat line right here, all the way up. And we got 39 tackles from Carlos Dunlap, 28 tackles for DJ Reader, and 18 tackles for Geno Atkins. And, I mean, they've got an amazing amount of sacks. They have, let me count them up real quick. I probably should start writing this stuff down. They have 24.5 sacks coming from their linemen, and 3 forced fumbles. And that is good. This is another time. There is a big step coming from 15 up to 14. We have reached okay territory. Well, not okay. This is almost really good. Just falling out of really good. We have the Cowboys. This is higher than I thought I would put them. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest. With the very, 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 very garbage offense that they put together, not necessarily, I mean, with Dak Prescott throwing interceptions like every game, they're going to need their defense to step up, and I think the Cowboys defense can possibly make the step. I think that they can help the Cowboys win some games. The Cowboys are really going to have to put themselves back together if they're going to win the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott or even make the playoffs with Dak Prescott. DeMarcus Lawrence, Gerald McCoy, Dontari Poe, and Tyrone Crawford. One of the reasons that they're not even higher on here is because Tyrone Crawford only had 1 tackle. And I know what you're saying, why aren't they down like with the Cardinals? It's because he also had a sack, which kind of salvages his terrible season. So this is a 4-3 defense, or really it's a 3-4 defense. Gerald McCoy with 15 tackles, Dontari Poe with 15 tackles. All together, they have 15 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence has 30 tackles. They have 2 forced fumbles. It's a pretty good stat line. All right, and into the really good category. This is where if I am a football fan, this is where I would want my team to be. All right, so whatever your favorite team is, what if it's here? The 49ers? What? Here they are, yep. Nick Bosa, Javen Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, and Arik Armstead. They have in total 40 sacks, which is amazing. I mean, that's definitely, I think that might be a big step from Cowboys to 49ers. They've got 32 tackles from Nick Bosa, 15 tackles for Javen Kinlaw, 15 tackles for Solomon Thomas, and 32 tackles for Arik Armstead. And altogether, they've got 3 forced fumbles, and Nick Bosa had an interception last year. That is really good. There's some really good stat lines in the next 11. Just outside of the top 10 teams. Here we go. It's the Ravens. Sorry, Ravens fans, but you just missed out on top 10. All right, we got Derek Wolfe, Brandon Williams, and Kalai Campbell. Kalai Campbell with 37 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Altogether, this team has 14.5 sacks, so not too many sacks, but they do have, I think I'm willing to put it all together, they do have 73 tackles, which is very good, and they have 3 forced fumbles. So you could make an argument that the 49ers are better than the Ravens, their defensive linemen, but I honestly just think the Ravens are better. All right, at the very bottom end of the top 10. All right, top 10 list, beginning with the Broncos. Their defense, still a remnant of the amazing defense 5 years ago that won them a Super Bowl. We got Jarrell Casey, Mike Purcell, and Shelby Harris in here, with Jarrell Casey with 26 tackles, Mike Purcell 28 tackles, Shelby Harris 28 tackles. They have 2 forced fumbles. They don't have any interceptions, and they've got 11 sacks. So, I mean, you could also make an argument the 49ers really could probably be at 10th. I mean, these 3 are really kind of on the same level right here. So while this is the top 10 and this isn't, it's really, this could just be one big, like 12th or 10th. All right, and then 9th, we have, let's just go ahead and cut that out. The Colts, as seen here. Normally, the team that I have a picture of is somewhere in the middle. But no, Colts fans, your team made it to 9th. Top 10, baby. All right. By the way, I think this is a picture of Justin Houston on here. It might not be. All right, Justin Houston himself, 33 tackles, 11 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Doris Buckner, 34 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Nico Autry, 20 tackles. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 21 tackles. That felt weird to say. All right, and now let's count them all up. And we have 26 tackles and 5 forced fumbles. And that's a whole heck of a lot of tackles. So they definitely deserve to be 9th. So while I was saying these 3 on the same level, the Colts are definitely where they're supposed to be. There is no way that they could be any worse than the teams behind them. All right, and now we go on to very, very, very good, almost amazing. We have the Bills coming in at 8th. All right, let's find them, shall we? Sorry, sometimes I have a hard time going through my notes. We have the Bills at Trent Murphy, Star Lotulelei, Ed Oliver, and Jerry Hughes. They got Murphy with 24 tackles. Star, it's Lotuleelei. That sounds like a song. 12 tackles. Ed Oliver, 24 tackles. Jerry Hughes, 14 tackles. They have a total. I'm tired. All right, they got a total of 16.5 sacks. They have 2 interceptions, though. So, once again, I feel like the Colts could be 8th and the Bills could be 9th. But, I mean, really, nah. The Bills are just where they're supposed to be. All right, in 7th, we have the Packers not the first of the NFC North. We got the Bears first. Anyways, the Packers all the way up here, showing themselves 7th. With Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark, and Tyler Lancaster. They have Dean Lowry had an interception last year. They had 23 tackles from Dean Lowry, 31 tackles from Kenny Clark, and 17 tackles from Tyler Lancaster. They have a total of only 7.5 sacks. So, I mean, yeah, this team could be lower, but I really think it's 7th. They're not going to have to do much. Just they're not gonna have to do much. Just do enough to let Aaron Rodgers win you the game, and so that puts them in 7th. In 6th, we have the Eagles, the NFC East, showing up late here. I keep on acting like it's the first. I'm talking about. I mean, the Cowboys were 13th, the Eagles are 6th, and the Redskins are somewhere in the top 5. All right. And the Eagles have completely forgotten already where they are. All right, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and Javen Hargrave, and Derek Burnett. 4-3 defense. There's a lot of them at the top. It should probably be a 4-3 defense, everybody. All right, and then we got Brandon Graham, 35 tackles, Fletcher Cox, 26 tackles, Javon Hargrave, 35 tackles, and Derek Barnett with 25 tackles as well. This is so many tackles. I mean, and they've also shown up in the numbers with sacks. I mean, that's a lot of sacks right there. All right. So we have 11, 14, 22.5 sacks, which is amazing. We also have 7 forced fumbles. So they definitely served their place. We have stepped up into a higher plane of existence, falling right outside the top 5. So the top 5 must be very elite, and we entered the top 5 with the Vikings. All right, you see them right here. Now the other 4 are a mystery. You don't know who's going to be down here. Ooh. We got Danielle Hunter. This is a picture of Danielle Hunter right here. Michael Pierce and Shamar Stephen and... I'm sorry. My nose is stuffed. I think I might be sick. And Ifeadi Odingbo. All right, we have the Steelers used to hold the crown for the best stat line, but now Danielle Hunter comes in with 52 tackles, 14.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles, beating everybody else. Danielle Hunter, right now, the best defensive lineman that I've seen so far. Michael Pierce with 19 tackles, 0.5 sacks. Shamar Stephen with 15 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. Ifeadi Odingbo with 18 tackles, 7 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So, I mean, they're showing up in the sack numbers. All right, we got 23 sacks. We got 5 forced fumbles, and we got a whole lot of tackles. This team deserves to be in the top 5. And right now, entering into elite, we got the Rams. Oh, completely surprised. I forgot they had them down here. All right. They're really launched up here based a lot upon Aaron Donald. Just, him being on that team. I mean, he was voted by the players the best player, not this year, but last year. And for good reason. We got Michael Brockers and Ashawn Robinson outside of Aaron Donald. Michael Brockers, 34 tackles. Ashawn Robinson with 32 tackles. And Aaron Donald, 29 tackles. They're showing up in the sack numbers, though. We have 17 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So this is another one. You could make an argument that the Rams, I mean, I don't know. Someone's probably going to say they could be down in 8th. I just, going through and methodically putting people where they wanted to put them, this is where it ended up being. I don't number them to the end. I said this in my last video. All right, in 3, we have the Browns. Top 2 coming up. This is the bronze medal. The Browns here. Their defense showing up last year. All right, they had Myles Garrett, of course, Larry Ogunjobi, and Sheldon Richardson, and also Olivia Vernon. A lot of these teams are 4-3 teams. I'm just not realizing that. All right, Myles Garrett with 20 tackles, Larry Ogunjobi with 35 tackles, Sheldon Richardson 43 tackles, Olivia Vernon 20 tackles, Larry Ogunjobi, Sheldon Richardson showing up in the tackle numbers. All right, Myles Garrett, though, with 10 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. All right, in total, though, this is what everyone's been waiting for. They have 22 sacks and 6 forced fumbles. Definitely. So you could also make an argument that the Vikings could be 3 or 4. Really, yeah. All right, top 2. This is the silver medal before we reveal the best team. It's the Chargers, all the way up at number 2. Joey Bosa, Justin Jones, Linval Joseph, and Melvin Ingram. I mean, you can't argue with 47 tackles, 18 tackles, 26 tackles, and 39 tackles, respectively. They have 21.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles, and Melvin Ingram had an interception last year. This is amazing stats right here. I mean, this is better than the rest. The top 2 are really just on a whole nother level than everyone else. All right, then the number 1 team. If you've been paying attention, you already know. Of course. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't accidentally punch my mic. It's the Washington Redskins. I'm a little biased. Okay, they're my team. But I try to. I mean, look, I try to keep them lower. Okay, but I mean, I honestly couldn't put them below even the Chargers. I just thought that they were better stat wise. I mean. My bad. Anyways, the Redskins, the video cut out. Anyways, the Redskins, Ryan Kerrigan, they have a total, including Chase Young, who was probably going to be the breakout star of the year. I have to talk really fast. He had 16.5 tackles. So altogether, they have, if I add everything up correctly, they have, I think, 40.5 sacks last year, and altogether 8 forced fumbles. And I mean, if Chase Young breaks out, this could be by far the best defense in the league. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, I had to talk really fast, but you guys should go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I post things about the NFL down there, and just have to make sure it's still recording. Yes, it is. All right, so go ahead and follow me there. And what's it called? Yeah, it's called Feel the Duck is Fat. I'll put it in the description. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe. I'm sorry I'm talking really fast. But thank you guys for watching so much. I gotta go. Really gotta go.